One would never suspect driving around the busy, bustling Dallas Metroplex that only 12 miles south on Interstate 45 toward Houston is the Rogers Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. This is a center that rehabilitates injured or orphaned birds with the goal of releasing them back into the wild. And it's also a farm animal sanctuary. This is where we took Big Tex to be released back into the wild after my wife had rescued him from what was certain death in a hot Texas parking lot where she worked. And I really like going down there a lot. This is the reception center. This is where anyone who has an injured bird or an orphaned bird would bring it to be taken, cared for, and eventually released back into the wild. Well, sparrowhawk, huh? It's a beautiful hawk.
They're actually one of my favorites.
It'll tend to be real unstable. See how stable that is? Besides the wild birds in the cages, the grounds are peppered with all kinds of domestic birds.
They get interested, or they are interested in birds alone, and they can come in and help. And we have another girl who's actually been in between.
Go ahead.
In high school and on to vet school.
Now the duck's got his mouth open there. He's just trying to get.
They pant.
Trying to get.
Right. Birds don't sweat.
Like dogs.
Exactly. Or cats.
Now, why are these guys being caged? Are they just too tame?
Some have come in with broken legs.
Many of these pelicans have been rehabilitated from wing or leg injuries. They stay on at the center for educational use. Oh, I see. Take a look at these magnificent birds here. Somehow we never think of the turkey this way, but it really is a magnificent, majestic kind of creature. Ben Franklin wanted to make this the national bird, and when you see one like this, you can understand why. Although the center has nonprofit status from the government, it receives no funds at all from the government. It is entirely sustained by donations from people like you and people like me. Medical expenses and food bills for the animals and birds skyrocket each year. It's necessary to give each species an appropriate diet, so they must buy large quantities of fish, mealworms, seeds, vegetables, fruits, rats, mice, and hay. The ground surrounding the reception center is covered with large cages like you see here, holding all kinds of different wild birds. Owls, bluebirds, blue jays, hawks. An amazing amount of species can be found here. What about this big white guy over here? This big white bird.
The cattle, that's a cattle egret. And there's a couple that we have that are non-releasable for the simple fact that they won't hunt live food. And if you don't hunt live food out in the wild, you can't survive.
Right. Well, the birds get conditioned quickly, don't they?
And we do have some birds in here also that have physical disabilities that prevent them from being released. Birds, when we have babies in, so that they can show them what to eat.
What's the big white bird back there?
In this cage right here?
He's clinging, yeah, clinging to the...
That's an umbrella cockatoo.
Cockatoo.
He actually belongs to our director.
I see.
During baby bird season, we're here 12, 14 hours, so she never gets to see her birds.
Many of the volunteers became volunteers after they had brought injured or orphaned birds themselves into the center. Caring for the birds takes a lot of dedication and an enormous amount of time. During the busiest part of the season, work days can be as long as 18 hours. As you can see, this little guy has been injured. I asked the lady who was picking him up what was going to happen to him, and here's the answer she gave me.
The air conditioner won't come back on.
Well, I hit the power button and it came on, yeah.
So what's going to happen to this guy?
How can I know, Bevel?
This is a raccoon bite down through the cage. We're going to have to sew him up
Uh-huh.
and see if we can't get him better and back to where he needs
Well,
to
they
go.
have to unplug it from out, or you gotta throw the... Even if it came up...
Not only am I happy to help today, but it's
You can learn a lot more about the center by visiting their website, www.rogerswildlife.org. And of course, donations, no matter how small, are always welcome. I'd like to encourage all you YouTubers out there to consider contributing whatever you can to this very, very worthy endeavor. You know, there's so many bad things that are happening in the world, it's kind of frustrating. And here's a chance that you can actually do some good and really know that you are doing good by supporting those who are selflessly giving of their own time just for the love of these beautiful, amazing creatures.